Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm in a little different area right now. I'm in my bedroom. This is my bed behind me just because I have a barrier up so my puppy can't get to me. But welcome back. Sorry if the lighting is like not good just because, you know, the lighting's not good in this room, but I have to be away from the puppy. So anyway, as you can see from the title of the video, I got a new little friend. So this is Falkor, and he is a bearded dragon. He's quite comfy on my shoulder. Yeah, so this was not planned. If it was planned, I would have warned you, but it was not planned. So I couldn't warn you. So, I'll start with his story, and then I'll go into bearded dragons in general, and then at the end of the video, we're gonna give him a bath. So, stick around. All right. So, what can I say about little Falkor here? Falkor is 7 years old, so he is an old gentleman, and he came from a rescue rehome type situation. I'm kind of lenient to say rescue just because he was well taken care of in his last home, but he needed to be rescued because the lady that had him just couldn't give him the care anymore that he required. She's pregnant, she's going to be having her first baby, so life is just going to get really hectic. They take a lot of time. They like to be with you and out of their enclosures a lot. So she just didn't have the time to care for him. And so she wanted him to go to a home that was good for him. And so I happened to stumble across this, and me and my bleeding heart, we decided to take him in. And so I got him and his enclosure for absolutely nothing. I didn't pay a penny for him. She just needed him to go to a good home. So that's how I got Falkor. Yeah, I did. But long story short, he is in a minimum cage setup. She just didn't have the funding or the means to give him anything bigger. So he's in minimum, which I'll talk about in a little bit. So I am upgrading his enclosure. I am getting him quite a bit larger one and giving him more things, like plants and hammocks and all that fun stuff. So I will insert a picture here of what his enclosure looks like currently. I have added a bit of stuff already, but this is what it looks like. And so that's just like a minimum setup. So it's nothing spectacular. So we're going to be upgrading him, and I will show you the upgraded stuff once everything's done. I have quite a few things coming in the mail for him. And the next enclosure I'm picking up, hopefully from when I film this, tomorrow or the next day, depending on when I can arrange for delivery, because I don't have a vehicle that's big enough to haul it in. That kind of gives you a hint of what's going on here. So anyway, that's Falkor's story. Falkor also has some health issues. He does have a little bit of a kinked spine. You can kind of see it going on here. This is his spine I'm following right here. So it's a little bit kinked. He does have a little crooked tail. And that is because the story I was given is when he was very, very young, he fell from a height. Now, I don't know whether that was somebody holding him and he squirmed and fell, or whether it was in his enclosure, he fell off something, or whether he was out in the house and fell off a table or something. I don't know. I don't know what the story is, but all I know is he fell from a height. And when he fell from a height, he injured himself. They didn't notice the spine at first, but they did notice the tail. So he was taken to the vet right away. They dealt with his tail. They x-rayed it. They wrapped it. They did everything that they could for it, but it healed wonky. And that's just something that happens. Like, it's nobody's fault. It just happens. So he's got a little wonky tail, but they did x-ray it again. And it's completely healed, and it doesn't seem to give him any pain. I can pet it, and he's not caring. It doesn't stop him any. He goes like no tomorrow, so he's fine. His spine did come a little bit later, they said. So we're thinking because he was very young when he fell. Young bearded dragons, their bones aren't solidified. It's kind of like a human baby. They're very pliable, and they solidify later in life, about 1 to 2 years old. So we're thinking when he fell, it kind of just jarred that spine and it just healed wonky. But again, it doesn't stop him. He doesn't even seem to notice it's there. So that's a good thing. But yeah, that's Falkor. In a nutshell. He's settling in really good. I just got him yesterday. So he's doing really good. But yeah, I figured, I guess I'm going to have to introduce bearded dragons into my channel now, because here we are. This is not my first bearded dragon. Years ago, before I started this channel up, I had 2 bearded dragons. Not together. I had one, and then he passed away, and then I had another one. So this is my 3rd bearded dragon. So I've done extensive research on them, and everything else. It was not, it was an impulsive move to get him, but not in the way that I wasn't prepared to care for him, if that makes sense. I wasn't expecting him, but I know how to care for him, and I'm prepared to care for him. So, yeah, anyway, let's get into bearded dragons in general. What are they? Who are they? How do you care for them? For anybody that's interested that doesn't know. So, bearded dragons are, I'm sure, as you guessed by now, a lizard. They are a dry lizard. They're not a wet lizard, like a salamander or something like that. They're dry. When you feel them, they are very, very dry and rough. They do have defense mechanisms. So one of their defenses, they have teeth. They can bite. Although that is like a last resort for them. They very, very seldom bite, but they can. They do have claws that you have to keep trimmed. So I don't know if you can see his claws, but they're all nice and trimmed up, but they will get very, very long if you let them. So they do have claws. They do also have these spines right here down their side. Now, right now, his spines are very, very soft. They will not harm anything. But if he's threatened or feels afraid, they can puff their bodies out, and then those spines stick straight out and get very, very spiky and pointy. And so their main predators are birds. And so if a bird were to fly down to try and pick him up, he would puff himself out, get those spines all nice and spiky, and when the bird went to pick him up, it would get a talon full of spikes and let it go. So that's like their main defense. Their other defense is their beards. Yes, they're called bearded dragons for a reason. They do have a beard that will drop down underneath their throats when they're angry, and it will turn pitch black. And that is another defense mechanism, because these guys are from the deserts of Australia. And in Australia, anything black is normally either poisonous or venomous. And so other animals think, black, stay away. And so that's why they get their beards nice and black. He does not have a beard right now, or black, because he's calm, so I can't show you. But if you go onto Google and you look it up, you'll see it. But as I said, they come from the deserts of Australia. So they come from the arid and subtropical woodlands. You can find them in the scrublands. You can find them in the savannas, the shore areas, and into the Great Deserts. So they span quite a distance in Australia. They're actually very, very well known there. In the wild, they have a lifespan of about 5 to 8 years. In captivity, however, we have significantly lengthened that. In captivity, they can live 12 plus years. I've known bearded dragons that have been close to 20 before they pass away. So they are a long-term commitment, kind of like a cat or a dog. So you have to be prepared. This guy, like I said at the beginning, is 7. So he's not young by any means, but he's still got quite a bit of life left in him. So I'm prepared to care for him over the next several years. As far as housing goes for them, I showed you my setup earlier in the video here, but I'll just kind of walk you through that. A minimum cage for them is 40 gallons. If it's any smaller than 40 gallons, it's not good for a beardy. 40 gallons is absolute minimum for an adult bearded dragon. Juveniles and babies can be kept in smaller than 40. They can be kept in 20s and sometimes even 10 gallons. But as soon as they hit about a year old, you have to bump them up to that 40. And just like any other lizard, bigger is better. The bigger you can go, the happier they're going to be. So just kind of keep that in mind, that they can take up a substantial area in your house. They do need, just like the snakes, they need a hot side and a cool side. So they need a basking area of anywhere between 100 to 104 degrees Fahrenheit. So it needs to be pretty warm. You can do this with a basking lamp or a chi, a ceramic heat emitter. But on top of the heat, and the cool sides, or I should say, the cool side can just be at room temperature. 70 degrees Fahrenheit is fine for the cool side. So you're giving them that option to be hot or cold as they need to be. At nighttime, you will turn off the heat as long as it doesn't get below 65 degrees Fahrenheit. If their enclosure gets below 65 degrees Fahrenheit, you're going to need a different lamp that does not give off light. It just gives off heat to keep the heat up above 65. But it is good to cool it down a bit at night, because that's replicating the deserts of Australia. It gets pretty hot during the day and pretty chilly at night. So it's good to turn off the heat at night. This guy, he's doing great in his enclosure. His enclosure went straight to what I wanted it when I got it home. It's at 102. It's perfect in the basking spot. And last night I tested it during the night and it only went down to 68. So he was fine. On top of the heat, you're also going to need a UVB light. So UVB gives him it replicates the sun's rays. And if he doesn't have the UVB, he's not going to get any vitamin D. And that's what he needs, is vitamin D to keep him healthy. So he also needs a UVB light. Again, you're going to treat this exactly like the heat. You're going to turn it on during the day and off during the night. It's recommended that they have about 12 hours of UVB a day. So that's something to keep in mind as well. As for humidity, you'll hear me talk in my other videos with my snakes about the different humidities that they need. These guys, they're from the deserts of Australia. They don't need humidity. 40 to 50%, what your house normally sits about, is totally fine for them. So you don't need to worry anything about humidity. And then the last thing that I wanted to talk about was their diets. So these guys are omnivores, meaning they eat both meat and vegetables and plants and fruits. So you have to give them a wide variety of food. Um, in general, vegetation, like vegetables, fruits, and plants, should make up about 75% of their diet, and insects like mealworms, superworms, hornworms, crickets, and others should make up about 25% of their diet. So they're mainly herbivores with a little bit of carnivore thrown in there. um, so when I first got him, I was told that he did not like eating his veggies, and so he has not had very many veggies in his life. I am working with him on that because he does need his veggies. And because he hasn't, I do believe he has what is called a vitamin deficiency. So essentially what that does is it makes him shake. So if I were to put him down and you were to see him move, you would see his head has a little bit of a quiver. And that's because of a vitamin deficiency. Now I'm hoping that once I can get him eating some more vegetables and get some vitamins into him, that'll go away. That should go away. On the small chance that it doesn't go away, it's nothing that's going to hinder him. But if left, it can cause issues. So I'm really working with him to try and get some vitamins into him. But that's his diet in a nutshell. It's not too hard to care for him diet-wise. You can get all your fruits and vegetables at your local grocery store. Your plants you can grow yourself if you want to. And then the insects, pretty much any pet store sells either live or freeze-dried. I feed freeze-dried just because, just like my snakes, I don't believe in feeding the food. And so I feed freeze-dried, and he's doing quite fine on that. So we're good to go there. But that's bearded dragons in a nutshell. As you can see, they're super friendly. They like to just hang out on you. As adults, I should say, they like to hang out on you. As babies and juveniles, they can be really squirrely. So if it's your first dragon, I highly suggest getting an adult because they're a lot calmer. But yeah, that's Falkor. That's bearded dragons in a nutshell. If you have any questions about them, feel free to comment and I will do my best to answer for you. But now I'm going to set up his bathing routine and I'm going to let you witness me bathing him, and I'll talk about that when he's in the tub. So give me a second to set things up. Okay, so bearded dragon bathing. Do you need to bath your dragon and how do you do it? So the answer to do I need to bath my bearded dragon is yes. Yes, it is really good for them, especially when they're shedding. Falkor is just coming out of shed right now. So it's really helpful for them to be in water when they're shedding. It loosens off that skin and helps them to get rid of it, essentially. And yeah, so it's really good for them, actually. It's also good for hydration. Bearded dragons don't necessarily drink a lot. They absorb a lot of the moisture through their skin. They also get some from like lettuce and stuff like that when they're eating it, but they don't actually drink a lot of water. So it's good to give your dragon baths often to do that. They also tend to go to the bathroom in the water. So if you want to try and I'm putting this in quotes, potty train your bearded dragon, giving them a bath about every second day will really help with that. They do like to go to the bathroom in the water, which saves their enclosure. So that's another good thing to do. So yes, they do like baths. I just have a little container here. You can also do a bathtub, whatever you want. Don't put too much water in it though. So the water is really low. I'm in the water right here. So it's very, very low. It's just deep enough that it'll come just above his belly. You'll see when I put him in it. It's not going to come up very high. And that way they're not going to panic in the water. They can still keep their heads above the water and all of that, which is really good. Temperature wise, you're going to want your water about 104, just like their basking spot in their enclosure. So a digital thermometer like this, it's a temp gun that takes the temperature of whatever you point it at is going to really help you in this case to test what the water is. So right now, when I test my water, it's sitting at 105.2. So I'm just going to wait just a couple more minutes for it to cool down a bit, and then we can put him in it. So that's my dog, Kiba, on the other side of the barrier. Yes, you would love in here, but you're not going to get in here right now, so you have to wait. All right, we're 104.3 now, so that's perfect temperature. I'm just going to stir it up a little bit because sometimes that makes it a little bit hotter again. So I'm just going to do that to see what it goes to now. Still 104.8, so that's fine. So now what you're going to do is you're going to take your dragon. Oh, if I can detach him from me. And you're going to lower him into the water. Now when you lower him into the water, put his tail in first so he can kind of feel what's going on. Put him in slow. It's kind of like jumping into the pool. You don't want to jump into it really, really fast. You want to lower him into it slowly so he can kind of get used to it. It is very warm. Like, to me, it feels very, very warm. But to him, it's not going to feel too warm because it's the same temperature as his basking area. So you're just going to put him in slow. And if he starts to wiggle, let him wiggle. Let him come out. Let him calm. It's okay, buddy. It's okay. Come here. Not what I want a bath tonight? Yeah? Just letting him calm down on my leg for a second. Pet him, calm him down. Sometimes you want to do something and they don't want to do it, and that's fine. You just have to be patient with them. He just had a bath yesterday as well because I wanted to help him with the shedding process. And I did get most of the shed off him yesterday, so that's a good thing. Come here, bub. Try again. No, you don't want a bath tonight? Again, I'm just showing you the reality of having animals. Things don't always go as planned, but that's okay. Try again. Nope. I always keep a hold of them, just nice. Good boy. There we go. Now he's in the water. Just go nice and slow. Normally once they get in the water, they do enjoy it. It's just getting him in. So now what you can do, as you can see, the water's not covering him. This part, well, you might not be able to see it in the camera, but the water's coming up to here on him. His entire back is out of the water. So now what I do is I just cut my hand in the water and just give him a little shower. Bearded dragons are very good swimmers. So sometimes if you put them in a bigger bathtub, they will actually swim. And it's really cool to see them swim. They swim like little alligators, so it's really cool. I also run it over his face. Sometimes they will lick the water droplets when it runs over their face. Just get him completely wet. And let him soak for a few minutes. That's how you give a bearded dragon a bath. It's not that hard. He pretty much enjoys it himself. Sometimes they'll drink when they're in here. Sometimes they won't. I will warn, if they have gone to the bathroom first, obviously take them out straight away. Get fresh water, put them back in, or just take them out and leave them out. Don't let them sit in water that has poop in it. Because sometimes they will drink it, and that's definitely not good for them. So, yeah, if he does poop, take him out straight away. But he just pooped earlier today, so I doubt he's going to. But yeah, you just give him a little bit of a bath. And like I said, you can do this about every 2 to 3 days, and it doesn't hurt them one bit. So that's a bearded dragon in a nutshell. Like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to comment down below, and I will do my best to answer them. And that's about all I've got to say about him. Like I said, he was a spur of the moment. I literally heard about him on, I heard about him on a Wednesday, and I got him yesterday, which was Friday. So there was only one day in between me actually hearing about him and me picking him up. So it was very fast. It was very sudden. But here's Falkor, and points to anybody that can tell me where his name comes from, because you will be my new best friend. All right, guys, I'll leave it at that with cute little Falkor in the bath. And we will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.